still going. It's like 10 o'clock Thursday night. I think today's Thursday. I'm still going. Went in, had some dinner, made some ham and some fun stuff. But I showed you how I prepped, I believe it was a cook's mold last time. I don't think I showed you how I prepped a blue gun. Now, this is the HK Mark 23. This thing is massive. I mean, look at this. Look at that. All right, so I have an order for an outside the waistband. It's actually a February order, and it's perfect time for this. I have 2 left I'm working on. Anyways, I'm going to show you what I do to actually prep a blue gun, because blue guns, ejection port's not covered. You want to cover that. And then trigger guard, you want that covered, because otherwise it's going to indent in. And I'm going to show you exactly what I do, and hopefully I have enough epoxy left because I've been using it. It's right there. So get yourself some JB Weld Steelstick. You can use Bondo. Bondo works too. This stuff works great as well. It's a little bit harder. It sticks better. And I did this off camera because at first I wasn't going to film this, and I was like, screw it, I should film it. I took my Dremel and I went ahead and marked it up like we learned in school in art class when we're doing all the clay crap. If you don't mark it up, and then, you know, it's not going to stick. It's just going to pop right off. So So I went ahead and did that, and we're going to take some Steelstick, the putty, which is 2-part. If you're not familiar with it, you got the inside and you got outside. So one of them is the hardener, and what we're going to do is we're going to little piece, boop, and then mix it up. All right, so there's 2 spots. We're going to do it here, and we're going to do it here. Steel stick is, I would say, it's not necessarily really sticky, but it sticks to whatever you're sticking it on pretty good. So go ahead and knead it so it's uniform in color, or as close as you can, but it's going to harden up pretty tight. Now, like I said, it's like 10 o'clock now, and I'm doing this so tomorrow morning when I come back in, it's going to be nice and hard. But we also have to do some epoxy work, and I'm going to show you exactly what I do. So that actually looks pretty good. All right, we'll start off with the side, and just need a little bit, and I'm literally going to shove that down in, and I just want it to stick where I need it. Like so. All right, that's all I want, and we're going to be able to sand it down once it hardens. And then same with this little guy right here. Just push it down in, get the excess off, and we'll be able to sand that. Squish this guy a little bit. There we go. And this is the majority of the one that we want to do. You know, don't be afraid to use tools, stuff that you have around. All right, so pretty much we're going to leave it like this. And we are going to let that harden. So you can see it's poking out. So that's good. It's what we need. And like I said, we're going to let it harden. Then tomorrow we're going to sand it. We're going to take care of this. We're not going to worry about in here right now, because we're going to do that a little bit later. And that's going to be with the epoxy part. But next step, it's already starting to get hard, so that's good. And we're just going to roll this back up like a joint. And throw this back in here. All right, next, take a scrap piece of wood. Like so. This is MDF. This is 1/4 inch. So we're going to go right inside. And I'm going to cut it out on the outside. Did a little bit. And just going to shove that guy right in there. And what we're going to do is put it as close to the center as we can. Now, the tighter this fits, the better you are going to be, and I'll explain why. That actually looks pretty good right there. That ain't coming out. Now, this is a lot of retention. A lot of retention. And you can see we're going to have a little bit of an issue, but we're going to set up with this side, and then tomorrow morning we'll do the other side. That means later on in the day we'll be fine. So I'm going to grab some tape and just throw a little bit on this side. Now I'm going to take this 2-part epoxy and get a couple mixed sticks here. This is Clear Weld Quick Epoxy. It's 5 minutes. It's 2-part. And what I'm going to do is just mix it up in here. I usually use glass, but my glass is really full. So we're going to go ahead. I have to get some of that off. All right. I'm going to use half this epoxy. And I'm going to throw this back on, because that's my cover for now. All right, I'm going to get a couple new ones. Oh, dumbass. Okay. And we're going to mix this up. Okay, so this is 5-minute epoxy. I got to rough that up real quick. Something to grip onto. The warmer this stuff is, temperature wise, it flows better, but I'll just take it and put it just a little bit where I need it, and I will move it around with the stick, and then after it touches all the areas you want it, it'll go ahead and level itself, which is pretty awesome. So whatever you add in there, it'll level. And then we're going to take the rest and dump it in there. We're going to need a lot more. So that's okay. You got to start somewhere. This is my last tube too, so I might have to run out and go get some more, which is okay. But like I said, push it everywhere you need it. You'll notice that it flows better when you tell it where to go. I've never used any other epoxy with this stuff, so I can't tell you if like clear RTV works or anything like that. I couldn't give you an accurate answer. This is what I've always used, so I will always turn back to this. So might as well mix the rest of this, because we're going to need it. Which means I am running to the store tomorrow to pick some more up. I'm going to do that first thing in the morning. Let's just get this on. We're going to want a lot of epoxy in here. Like I said, move it around to where you want it, and it'll automatically flow there and level itself out. So we want this whole trigger guard to fill up. Right, and we're going to need more. And that is why we put tape on the other side so it doesn't ooze out and then get all over your desk. Let's go ahead and wipe that off. There we go. And I'm going to let it flow into other areas. But if we leave it flat, it's going to do exactly what we need it to do. Okay, looks good for me. Don't care about the bubbles. They're going to work themselves out. You can see how it's pretty flat with the reflection. Okay. And tomorrow when I sand this, I'm going to go ahead and sand the controls down. I'll show you all that as well. This we can toss because we don't need it anymore. And then we're going to let that be. You can put it in the oven if you want. It will speed it up a little bit, but because it's a blue gun, you could also risk potentially melting it or deforming it. So we're going to just let it air dry. Like I said, I'm almost done tonight, and we're going to let that just do its thing. Tomorrow morning, we're going to flip it after I go to the store and get some, but we're going to flip it and then do the other side of the trigger guard to get that to where we want it. And by the time that is done, we're going to go ahead and just sand everything. And then we're going to make a holster for it. So the holster that we're going to be doing is just a regular black 1.5 loops, and that's it. No bells and whistles. So I'm really looking forward to this one because it's massive, and there's no difference on how we do this. However, as you can see this, I just noticed that I forgot the trigger area, so we're going to fill this with Steelstick as well, but because we just did this area, we have to let that sit and let that harden before we can do this. That way we can have a nice transition from trigger guard to grip, but with the HKs, I actually cut around it, but it would look a lot better like this once we do that. So we will do that tomorrow. Stay tuned for part 2, and you'll see the making and the birth of a HK Mark 23.